chips. All they have are the yellow bag of Lay's.
Yeah.
And 4 drinks, and there's little plastic cups, lemonade or tea that they had in the igloo cooler. Very nostalgic. To give you a cup of ice.
Very cheap.
Right. Yes. Yeah. $80. $80. $20 a combo. Now, if I'm dating myself, like I realize if you go to a ball game, is it not on?
I don't know. I'm checking.
That just wears me out. There's nothing to go wrong. I'm going to go do the exact same thing again and put it up there.
Well, finish your thought and then we'll get into
$80 that I get it if you pay $8 for a beer. That makes sense. I mean, they're going to make money off alcohol and they're trying to discourage you from drinking too much.
Yeah.
But the idea that if you take a family, you think of baseball as being something the whole family can do that's not powerfully expensive.
You can't take the family anymore.
No, which is why, but see, it brings back to me the value that is like a Generals game where you can go and maybe they have free hot dog night or whatever it is. And if you have your own cup, it's like $5 for a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
Baseball, it's the time together that makes it cool. I don't think it's on.
No.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. Talk to the radio.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. Must be the fact that we're right wing or we lean right wing because Facebook over the weekend just said that Donald Trump will be banned from Facebook till January of 2023, which is kind of interesting. Because that would just happen to take the former president right through the 2022 midterm election season of not being allowed to be on Facebook. Is it just a mere coincidence that he's not allowed to be on Facebook through 2022? Absolutely not. It is by design, and it is designed to keep Donald Trump off the airwaves.
Is it there now?
Yeah, now it's there.
You know, I heard a deal the other day, Ash. I think I mentioned it to you. Donald Trump was on a radio program, and the host said, hey, instead of waiting till 24 and maybe running for president again, why don't you run for the congressional seat that's open in 22 in Florida? And Trump genuinely sounded like that was the first time he'd heard that thought, that maybe that might make sense to do. The guy said, look, Mr. President, run for Florida's House of Representatives seat in 22. Flip all these states that are on the fence, bring in 50 reps with you, and become Speaker of the House. And I did a little reading, and it's all very doable. I mean, he could literally do that, literally oust Nancy Pelosi. And guess what? Then he could impeach Joe Biden.
You know what's interesting is the left is so far gone in their ability to realize and rationalize what's going on. They still think Anthony Fauci is the guy, that he did nothing wrong.
That guy's a criminal.
That he isn't, at the very least, by pure omission, somewhat responsible,
no doubt,
for what went on in the last year and a half.
Look, he's got a hand in every suicide, every failed business, every person that went into depression. Anthony Fauci's got a hand in all of that. He was never anything but a doom and gloom guy.
But not even because of that. but because of the gain of function research that our own government was paying for. And you could argue that maybe those above him that control the purse strings didn't know because they just fund the National Institutes of Health, and then Fauci has the ability to spend that money where he wants, right? As long as it's research.
Right.
That's probably how it works. So he goes and spends it on gain of, and again, I don't understand the gain of function purpose. Why do you need to take a virus that we already know could be bad and try to make it worse?
Only to weaponize it.
Well, that's exactly it. Well, we got to find out, because what if it becomes worse, and then we've got to combat it.
I guess you could argue that it's kind of like auto racing, right? You take the car, you race it to its very extreme, and then you learn how to manage regular cars with more efficiency. I guess if you pushed a virus to its biological extremes, you might gain knowledge to help you combat it at its most basic form.
Okay, but when you tweak that race car and you screw up, the only person dying is that race car driver.
Correct.
Not a million, not few million people around the globe.
Legit.
Pushing 4 million.
Yeah. Are we all watching NASCAR with such excitement if we have a driver's jersey on, and if he dies, you die? People watch NASCAR to watch the wrecks. If you're in the...
But relatively speaking, nobody dies at NASCAR.
No, not anymore. Really, not really much since Dale Earnhardt.
Not really much even prior to that. I mean, there haven't been that many deaths in NASCAR.
Yeah. Precautions are taken.
I mean,
they're not driving the number 24 Wuhan Chevy Monte Carlo.
No. And NASCAR has become someone, NASCAR has lost its glow that they had to fake a racist controversy around it to drop some viewership.
Yeah, that's a joke.
And
that guy knew it was fake.
But here's the thing, and I've read enough novels and I always read the footnotes and the acknowledgments, right? And I read one years ago that was about the US AMRID, the medical research, infectious disease. And in that novel, the author acknowledged the help they got from those folks to accurately describe the procedures and the protocol in place so that diseases can't leave the laboratory.
Right.
Right?
This was intentional.
And I'm not sure how the intent, but I have no doubt somewhere along the way, the 3 first patients that were infected with it were purposely done. They may not have known that they were purposely infected with it.
Let's see what happens if these 3 get out. What do you think? Like maybe 100,000 people get it, and maybe 6 or 7 die. All of a sudden, whoosh, the whole world's got it.
Yeah, they probably figured, well, we got something that'll be, the equivalent of the flu with its death rate, and oops, maybe not.
It's like chlamydia in Lubbock.
But maybe so, because as we're finding out that, through Anthony Fauci's emails, that the COVID death numbers were not accurate. So we may end up there anyway. But I have no doubt that somehow this was an orchestrated event by the Chinese Communist Party. Maybe they didn't expect it to get as out of hand as it did. But I have no doubt their intent was to see what would happen.
Do you think somewhere in China there's like a little Chinese guy that's like in a gulag now because, we told you not to let it get out?
No, they don't worry about gulags. They just kill him.
Okay. So he's probably already dead.
The first doctor that tried to whistleblow this
they
killed him.
Did you do the roll call? There's Marvin McCush. There's AJ Louderback. Good morning, Sheriff.
The guy at Tiananmen Square standing off that tank. We never learned his name because
he was gone next week.
Yeah.
They didn't shoot him right there on the video.
No, they waited till there was no video roll.
Then they killed him.
Yeah. Justin Glass, good morning. Richard King, Christina Wise in, Kendra Douglas, Diane Tippett, Bob Watley, Judge Posey, good morning. Stephen Kidder.
Morning, Judge.
Johnny Houghton, Lisa Poole, Roy Gutierrez, good morning.
Gutierrez.
Steve Kidder says Trump's going to be at Texas CPAC in Dallas in July. I wonder if he'll run for Texas GOP chairman.
Yeah, we got to talk about that in a minute.
David Glass, good morning. I had a good chat with David over the weekend. Bobby Leister's checking in. Scott Tomko. J-Dub.
Good morning, J-Dub.
Leisterometer still holding steady at 1,004. Kathleen Leininger, good morning. The Iceman is in. Steve Kidder, today's word of the day. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
I think it's probably tranche.
Tranche? Tranche? I think emails. Tranchy?
Tranche. It's Frost.
Junior Samples, good morning. Patrick Strauss checking in. Natalie Mayer, good morning. Scott Snow. Steve Kidder says Fauci lied to Congress under oath, kind of like Michael Cohen. Producer extraordinaire, J. Mark Dramich. There's no little slash above the E. That's why I'm not sure.
Well, it says in structured finance, a tranche, it's tranche, I'm certain, is one of a number of related securities offered up as part of the same transaction. In the financial sense of the word, each bond is a different slice of the deal's risk. Transaction documentation, see indenture, usually defines the tranches as different classes of notes, each identified by Class A, Class B, Class C, with different bond credit ratings. So what you do is you put together a bunch of different bonds, maybe a bunch of mortgages, and then you sell them off as a security, and they're based on, if they're all Class A, that's going to have one discount rate. If they're Class A, B, they're different, and on and on.
Gotcha.
It's hard to use in a sentence, but it was a nice little primer for our group.
Kevin Leininger says building their own little fiefdoms on taxpayer dimes.
The Democrats are a tranche of D- securities.
Anthony Fauci did not kill himself. Terry Murray, good morning.
Sam Terry Murray, good time to tell you about Motto Mortgage, 541-5454. You reach out to Terry Murray this week. She'll talk to you about her vision for where interest rates are going to go, how long it would take you to get a quote to refinance your home.
What won't take long is her ability to find a mortgage situation and product that fits your needs with the lowest rate and best overall value for you.
Absolutely. 541-5454.
She has like a if this were beer, she'd have a case of beer waiting for you when you walk through the door. That's how many lenders she has available to that are bidding for your business. They want your business, they'll fight for your business, and Terry makes it all happen at Motto Mortgage.
Wind services, generators, solar panels, plumbing, electrical, all types of emergency work. Think Wint Services when you have an issue or an opportunity. If you need to install a new generator for storm season of 23, now's a good time to get on the list.
A lot of people could have used backup generators Saturday evening with the power going out.
Absolutely. Are they trying to get us mentally ready for like rolling brownouts in the state of Texas? Is that what's going on?
No, I think it was just the violence of the thunderstorms that rolled through here and knocked power out throughout the region.
Reach out to me. USA Concrete Coatings. Charlie Garcia and his team will come out. Now 578-HOME.
Yeah, you got to do that first, and they'll come out. Then they'll prepare the slab,
seal all the cracks,
seal it all. Then they'll get down that tougher than nails polyurethane coating.
It won't stick to your car tires. It won't peel, fade, crack. None of that stuff.
The colors and the look you want, and at a price that you can afford. And the best part is they'll get it done in about a day.
Yeah, that's what's cool. It's not a 3-week project.
No, not at all. It's not like renovating your kitchen.
Stuff out of your garage and cleaning the floor, then dragging it back out the next weekend and sealing the cracks. They'll do it all. They come in as a team and they knock it out. So, big news out of Austin or out of Texas this week that GOP party chairman Alan West resigns.
Yeah, we got off the air Friday and boom, that was dropped. So working to try to get him on the show, hopefully tomorrow morning to discuss it. But I mean, this was a shocker.
Well, my initial thought was that he's decided to run for an office. Like maybe he's going to run for governor. He doesn't want to be promoting the party and then say, oh, by the way, make me governor. He's going to resign, give himself a little breather, and then announce for governor. That's the only thing that makes sense. He's a soldier. He's a duty first guy. He's not a guy. He clearly doesn't feel that the party's at its best right now in the state. So he wouldn't quit unless he had a reason. You made the comment when we were just visiting the other day that, maybe he's disgruntled at the way some of the parties' platform went or some of their
Well, remember when we
objectives
talked to him at the start of the legislative season or legislative session season? Same thing. It was like spring training, and he said there were, and I don't remember them all, but there were about 8 legislative priorities
right
that he felt needed to get accomplished this legislative season.
So they went Dallas Cowboys and went like 2-6.
Yeah, because that's real. I mean, if you think about it, I think the abortion was one.
He liked that.
Fetal heartbeat, and then constitutional carry. That was it.
That's it. Everything else that they talked about either failed or didn't make the floor or whatever.
So I'm wondering if that might be part of the reason that, it's just disgruntled. But
the thing you have to know, no matter what, even as much as we respect Allen West, it's politics. There's something going on. It's always politics. So we'll get him on, and one thing about him, he'll tell you straight up. If we get him on the air, he'll tell us what's going on. Like that.
John Davis, good morning. Daniel White. Bob Constantine, good morning. Jeff Finley. Jim Simpson, Matt Boucher, Karen Webb, Robin Moore Knipling, Chris Ray Brissett, Adam Daughtry, Adam Sugar.
I saw Adam the other day at Academy. He was doing good.
He's buying up all the Christina Wise says between Women's College World Series this weekend and the USA-Mexico soccer game, she needs lots of coffee today.
Well, not to mention Ash yesterday watched hockey.
Yeah, Canada wins World Championship gold. A Canadian team that lacked the big superstar. Connor McDavid was available, didn't go over best player in the
Conor
NHL.
McGregor?
Yeah.
That would help you if you feel like you were fighting. That guy's a goon. He's a goon.
But Canada beats Finland in overtime, golden goal.
What did Finland ever do to you? Wait, I didn't even know Finland was still a country.
Pretty good hockey team.
Where are they?
Canada becomes the first team ever in the history of the IIHF World Hockey Championships to start the tournament 0-3 and then win the gold.
Well, they were drunk.
And they lost 4 games, too, throughout the whole tournament. They lost their last qualifying round game, needed help to get in, and then made short order the U.S., beat the Russians, and then topped Finland for the gold.
So now Finland, is that over by Sweden and Norway? And
yeah.
That little enclave.
Right in the middle, right?
White countries.
I think it's Norway on this end, then Finland, then Sweden, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
But exact the revenge, because I think the last time there was a world championship in 19, Canada lost to Finland. So exactly.
Did the United States beat Finland
in
for the gold medal?
Yeah, people think it was the Russian or the Soviet Union, but it wasn't. They had to then go out and beat Finland the next game to secure the gold, because there was no medal round at that time. It was just basically you play the winner, the team with the best record wins the gold medal. But yeah, exciting game, good game, and Canada wins gold, and a few fans in attendance. Not many, but it was good to see.
It was good to see Joe Biden yesterday hang a wreath discussing the importance of D-Day, the tremendous sacrifice. Did you see that?
No.
Because it didn't happen. Joe Biden completely ignores D-Day. Where's Pete McNally this morning? Where's America's favorite liberal to talk about the fact that his president is still mumbling about the Tulsa massacre and how he's the first president in 100 years to go to Tulsa? That's a lie. Donald Trump was there a year ago. Why does Joe Biden not find it necessary to at least acknowledge the tremendous sacrifice made by U.S. and British and other armed forces, Canadian armed forces,
Australian, you name it,
in the liberation of Europe? D-Day, June
77
6th,
years ago yesterday.
doesn't even merit a tweet from your president.
But Brian Williams on MSNBC yesterday, and this one just floored me, folks. Talking about D-Day, and it was fine. I was okay with that. Until he starts playing basically an ad for the Lincoln Project. What is Antifa? Antifa are those that fought and invaded Normandy in World War. What?
Yeah, that's
Bull crap, Brian Williams. Bull crap,
appropriating.
MSNBC. You've appropriated and you're now trying to falsely equivalate Antifa with those that stopped fascism and the rise of it in Europe, or at least started the downfall of it with the D-Day invasion in 1944. It took another year to end the war, but I would argue without what happened at D-Day, we'd be looking at a completely different world. You and I wouldn't be standing here.
No doubt.
We'd be under somebody's thumb, if not dead by now, for espousing some of the things that we espouse, because there is no freedom, there is no liberty, and there's no pursuit of happiness, certainly in the U.S. and the rest of the world, if Hitler wins and he's
100%.
able to do whatever he wants.
100%.
But what is really, really interesting about this is they can claim Antifa as anti-fascists all they want. It's just more classic Democrat deflection. They're the ones that are rioting. They're the ones that are trying to stop people from speaking their mind. They're the ones that will embarrass and dox you and brand you with a scarlet letter or the modern day equivalent of a yellow star of David.
Yep.
And they will loot and riot and burn your house and burn your city and take over buildings.
To teach you a lesson.
But they're the anti-fascists, using all the fascist terroristic schemes
and tactics. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Brian Williams plays this in his homage to D-Day yesterday. Get out of here with that crap, Brian Williams. You're just a fraud and an idiot.
That's exactly right. They tie it together as if I can take this bad thing and put it with this good thing, then I can make these things look the same. And it's simply disingenuous and not correct.
This is a generation of folks who have done absolutely nothing for society. Civil rights era was launched in the 50s and 60s and culminated with the passing of the Civil Rights Act that the Democrats absolutely did not want to pass. They want to gloss that over. The Democrat Party in the 60s was filled with KKK members. Because they founded the KKK. They did not want equal rights for blacks and others of color in this country. They fought it tooth and nail. The Republicans in the Senate are the ones that passed it.
True story.
So they have nothing there. Feminine equal rights took place in the 60s and 70s. So there's nothing there. They didn't have to live through the Cold War and the fear of communism. There's no World War II.
77 years ago, Ash, let's say that guy storming the beach of Normandy was 18 years old. He's 95 now. He's 95, and most of these kids have never met anybody. Most people at our local high schools, their grandparents didn't fight in World War II.
No.
Most of these kids have never met anybody that provides them the freedom to be the idiots that they choose to be.
AOC has never had to fight for anything in her life. It was handed to her. She made up stories to get elected.
Yeah.
And she,
Columbia University.
And she paints herself as a victim of what? I don't know. And I'm convinced.
Those bug eyes.
And I'm convinced it's AOC and the likes of her that have had to do absolutely nothing to further society. They haven't had to fight for anything that meant anything. So now they're manufacturing crisis after crisis, issue after issue, so that AOC and others can feel like they've accomplished something in this world. It's all about their ego and fulfilling themselves personally, that they have to manufacture another civil rights issue and era when none exists, because there has never been a time in this country when people have been more equal.
I agree 100%.
Than now.
And what they're saying now to Black America, for example, is, well, if you didn't know there was a problem, it's because you've been suppressed by white America. There is a problem. Barack Obama tried to bring it to the fore, but you ignored it because your 401k was doing so well under Trump. But the reality is you're being oppressed.
You can't fight inequality with more inequality regardless.
Correct.
And that's what the left is trying to do.
If you have a real crisis, call Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. You'll recognize it. A tire comes off, you end up in a ditch, your car's on its side. Call Allen's, 578-6300.
I saw one of those truck chassis SUV or RVs.
Right?
Back wheel was down on the side of the road waiting for the wrecker. I'm
no
sure
problem.
Alan
He's
was
got a
coming.
flatbed, pull it right up on there, like he's done for the United States Postal Service selflessly for years.
578-6300.
The VCS Companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman Communication empire. Reach out to the Hartman family. VCS is located on Kerr Boulevard. That's just inside the loop off of Main Street. For all your communications, surveillance, security needs, they're it. They are it. The standard and the standard of service.
Yeah.
You want to install a home link gate at your property. You want to have two-way radios on your ranch. Whatever you need. If it communicates or if it records,
monitors, surveils,
suppresses fire, all these things, reach out to the VCS Companies. Chesnick Furniture, 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Bobby Leon and his family, simply serving your family for 101 years. Still offering 50% off on all furniture as they celebrate their 101st anniversary. Now, they've only been on Juan Lynn for 70 years, 71 now.
Yeah.
But if you'll get down there, tell them Wade and Carter sent you, they'll deliver your furniture today.
Still offering 50% off.
Chesnick and Love make your house a home, and they've said forever, you just do better at Chesnick. And Veracruz, wow, today, get into Veracruz.
Back in there today after they took the weekend off.
You know what? I think we've run into the week. I think Veracruz is closed this week.
Oh, is this the week?
I think this is the week. I think this is vacation week.
Well, when they're open. Drive by. I mean, you'll see it. There's no
you
cars
can
in the
drive
parking
by
lot.
and you can drive by and have Jalisco fantasies.
Not those kind of fantasies?
Just covered up in that orange taco grease, just smeared all over you. Anyway, Veracruz would be a great place to go.
Absolutely. Been with us since day one.
Absolutely. Family.
Kathleen Leininger says we sent these legislators up there with an overwhelming majority to address 9 legislative priorities. They squandered the majority advantage, had only accomplished 2 of the 9 priorities. And here's the problem with Republican politicians. We have a majority, and they always seem to think they have to play nice.
Right. We apologize when we have the majority. When they have the majority, they squash us and impeach us and slander us.
But when the Republicans have a majority, they feel they have to go up there and play nice, and they only get 2 of their 9 legislative priorities accomplished.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It is a shame. Nothing gets done. And I don't know why. Oh, I do, because Republicans just suck when it comes to actually playing the game of politics. They always got to try to play nice so that everybody's friends and kumbaya, and at the end of the day, instead of actually getting work done and driving forth an agenda that will benefit Texas instead of benefiting each and everyone's individual pocketbooks.
Yep. I agree. It seems like the Republican. I listened to Rush Limbaugh one time say that even during the Reagan years, that the Republicans really know deep inside they're the second party. They really do. They know, and he wasn't being funny, and he wasn't even being critical. He was being observant that things aren't the way that the times where the Republicans drive the bus are the times of abnormality.
And the Republicans tend to always drive that bus into a wall.
Yeah.
Kevin Leininger says Joe Biden only acknowledges our soldiers' sacrifice when he can use his son's service to his political advantage.
No doubt.
Absolutely. John Davis says your president failing to acknowledge or praise our heroes for D-Day is par for the Dems and despicable.
Now, I'll tell you what's interesting.
Just lost our video.
Says it'll be available on our timeline shortly. Ready to get started again?
Yeah, that's completely ended. It's not an issue with us just not keeping up for whatever reason. Facebook just completely shut us down. Just like they've shut President Trump down till January of 23. Interestingly enough, Twitter banned a tweet from Nigeria's president either late last week or over the weekend. So Nigeria said, well, you know what? Two can play at that game. We as a country are going to ban Twitter. So the Nigerian government tells Twitter, we're done. We're done.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
That a country said we are banning. It should be on.
Should be, but you know what? The Magic app is available, and we are live on YouTube.
It's live. Yeah, that is a good bailout, folks. We're live on YouTube, and you can always listen to us. You can listen to us on your device at Magic. What is it? I've got the app. Is it Magic 95 FM?
Magic95victoria.com. You can listen there. And you can get the app, search it on Android and Apple. But, yeah, Twitter decides that they're going to ban a tweet from the president of Nigeria. So Nigeria as a country says, you know what, we're just going to ban Twitter. Then you have old Jack Dorsey going on saying, well, now, Twitter's a human right. I didn't realize Twitter was a human right. I believe freedom of speech is a right that we all have.
Right.
But I had no idea Twitter was a human right.
Isn't this all going to come to a head, though? Don't we have, what is that?
I have no idea.
Aliens have
That's our video, apparently.
taken over our video. How about that? Let's just let that play. That's us. I think what you're leading to is
We might have been hacked.
we might have been hacked. We might be getting to the point where the government's going to step in and remove that designation that like Twitter and Facebook have where they can't be sued. Yeah, I like it. Look, somebody's hacked in. It's great. That's how you know you're getting somewhere when people, is it on that screen too?
No, you hit a button.
When people try to hack in and deal with you, that's cool. Did you get rid of it?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
You hit the mystery mask button that provides a different mask every 5 seconds.
Is it going away?
It should go away.
Ah, look at that one. Scary.
We weren't hacked.
Jim Simpson. Yeah, ransomware. It says pay your ransom to UHV Biology.
Yeah,
No kidding.
Daniel White did that.
Tell you what, that makes you think about this. Razor IT Solutions. We would have reached out to JP Hull if that had persisted. And that's something that would have been right in his bailiwick. JP would have found out the source of that and made that go away.
The source of it was you.
Razor.
And your thick thumbs.
I only have one thumb. But Razor IT Solutions can solve all of your, Andy Starr says, operator error. Yes, as in most airline crashes. Razor IT Solutions is your source for all things analytical and encryptic. White Trash Services, 550-1826. Reach out to BJ Nelson and her team.
BJ's in Houston today. Huge in Houston today.
550-1826. BJ and the folks, Scott, the folks at White Trash Services, they do a great job where they need a roll-off dumpster, weekly trash service, all in this 7-county region, Rockport, Holiday Beach,
Lake Tahoe,
Port
Lake
Aransas,
McLeany.
Corpus Christi. They got it all. Reach out to them. Ads and offers since 1926. Victoria's dealership.
Plagued by the microchip shortage out of China. But lots and lots of great pre-owned vehicle selection to choose from. New cars are limited. Tommy Taylor and you had a discussion about this about a week ago or so.
It's a microchip. There's an issue, and I have a feeling that the chip comes from China. and General Motors is crippled for lack of a nail. The shoe was lost. For lack of the horse was lost. Lack of the horse, the war was lost, and there's no Escalades. So there you got that.
That's Hanover.com. My used car of the week, 2019 F-150 XLT FX4 package.
The black one?
Yeah,
nice.
Just under 39.
There you go. And Complete 360 and the health bar. The health bar is right here, right behind us over here on Red River. And the Complete 360 is up on the north side next to Buffalo Wild Wings. They're on the west side of Navarro. Get by there when you want smoothies, paninis, supplements, and all types of healthy snacks. It's a healthy place. If you're just going to go in someplace, I'm just going to order anything and probably be good for me, this is it.
This is the place.
They make
a health bar.
Yeah, they make out of oat flour, they make a gluten-free waffle that is great. It's a great waffle. So get by there and check that out. 45 after the hour, that makes it Wednesday in Newfoundland.
Tonight, 6 o'clock, Meet Victoria with Caleb Shaw. We're going to be simulcasting it on the Wade and Carter Facebook page as well. Candidate debate for City Council District 3 and mayoral debate as well. So the 5 city councilor candidates. That's tonight. And the 3 mayoral candidates. And I've been graciously asked to moderate. So looking forward to doing that tonight.
Now tomorrow you'll want to tune in also, as we have a precinct or District 3 representative candidate, Dwayne Crocker. He's going to come in studio.
The first of what we hope we'll get all 5.
Yeah,
on
we've
the show.
Invited all. So hopefully
we'll work out days and get that in.
No, John Brink's not running.
And the 3 mayoral candidates between now and election day as well. So, but tonight that debate forum will happen. Looking forward to hosting or moderating that.
You wear a tie?
I don't think so. Maybe a jacket.
Did you develop the questions?
Yes, I did.
You want to give us a little heads up or something?
Nope.
Why wouldn't you?
Because nobody gets a question ahead of time.
I just went mono too.
But everything.
No, there it is. It all came back.
Yeah. So
just trying to get a feel. I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm going to see if I can come up with a question for you that I want to know.
Come up with a question and I'll ask it.
Folks, help us out. Let's have a Wade and Carter question for the candidates tonight. Put on your serious hat for a minute. I'm certain that at some point Ash is going to say, why are you doing this? Why are you running for office? Give people a chance to say they care and they love their city and blah, 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 blah. It's all going to sound the same after a minute. And then I'll ask them, what do you see as the single biggest issue facing our city? And money, taxes, roads, parks. And then I'll say, how do you feel that your skill set best enables you to address these issues within the confines of a 5-member, or was it 5, 7? 5-member council. Well, I do a consensus builder. I'm a team player.
6, 7-member mayor plus 4 districts and 2 super districts.
My wife thinks I'm funny. And then they'll say, what do you see as the biggest hurdle to overcome in economic development for our area?
Nope, that's not a question.
No?
Neither was your last one.
Okay, I'm with you.
First one was the typical softball.
Sure.
I
think it's important to ask them, how do you package this municipality? What can city council do to make Victoria more attractive to development? For example, I've been a huge proponent of doing away with the sign ordinance. I've been a huge proponent of easing the constraints on local businesses. You can't compete with Amazon. You've got to have an angle. How do we make Victoria more economically viable?
Stephanie Miller. Now we're getting to the Joe Biden press conference questions. If you were a tree, what kind would you be and why?
Jello. The answer is clearly Jello.
Ask him what's your favorite ice cream.
There you go. That's what Joe Biden wants to know.
BJ Nelson says Wisconsin City Council to be more friendly to the taxpayers.
Just wave as you steal their wallet. Yeah. It'll be a mush fest, but Ash will ask the tough question. I know that, and I know that about him. I think it'll be something to tune into. It'll be streaming live on Facebook.
Yes, sir. So looking forward to that.
You can be sitting under the banner that Caleb puts up that all taxation is theft.
I think so.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Joe Manchin, representative for our is he representative? Senator from West Virginia?
Got to be a representative. If we
No,
don't
I think
know
he's a senator.
he's a
Senator from West Virginia.
That's how important West Virginia is. We don't even
Well,
know.
he is very important because he's going to kill the For the People Act. He's basically said that he will not support the For the People Act and the election reforms. So he's the only one on the Democrat side in the Senate who actually is going to stand up and believe in the Constitution.
He's going
and
against the party?
Yes. And that elections are state rights. And the Democrats are absolutely pissed off at him right now. Chris Conrad's question could be a good one.
Pretty intense.
That is. Are you a godless pinko commie bastard, or are you someone that we might consider voting for?
I like it. Dare you. Could lighten the mood.
Could.
Can the event be attended?
Are you a chocolate chip cookie or not?
Can it be attended?
No, it cannot. So
you got to watch on Facebook.
yeah, you have to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. So Joe I'm curious if Joe Manchin's ever going to switch parties.
Yeah.
David Glass says, you mean there's a Dem that thinks for himself? Joe Manchin tends to be that guy. That's why he'll never rise to speaker. It's why he'll never rise to any prominence of power in the Senate within the Democrat Party. But lo and behold, he's wielding more power than any senator who might have an appointment from Chuck Schumer in the Senate. Kevin Langer says, if only Manchin will maintain his backbone. So far, he's done pretty good. This isn't the only issue he's kind of taken sides on and stood his ground.
Good for him.
Adam Daughtry wants us to ask, do you take one step or two steps while going upstairs before tripping?
The Joe Biden.
Yeah, just don't try to take them 3 at a time. That'll trip you up every time.
Yeah, Biden always tries to break into a trot like he's athletic.
Yeah,
and just
absolutely
stumbles
not.
and falls.
So
I can't get over the fact that the guy just completely disregarded D-Day. It is amazing to me. And he fumbled around during Memorial Day services.
debate will be at 6 o'clock, Andy Schneider. Candidates will have time to respond, and there will be rebuttal if needed.
Are you going to pontificate a little bit?
No. I don't get into that. It's
their grandstanding.
No, it's their place. They're the ones running for office, not me. I'm just facilitating the conversation.
So humble. Don't know what I would do without you. I would just run amok.
Caleb Shaw says because of venue and timing, or we would have had an audience.
Sounds
Somebody
like something one of the major networks would say. Sounds like something CBS would say.
Well, and actually, the venue just shifted Thursday. We're going to be in a brand new venue.
How do we know you're not
just at home on a green screen?
CGI and just making this up.
Maybe I will. I'm going to use the mystery mask feature on Facebook Live.
Nice.
Like you just did. Bob Wally says Biden runs like the $6 million man.
They can play that music.
He runs about as slow as he did.
Right? Remember that?
Did you have the Bionic Man doll? We didn't call them action figures.
No, they were dolls. We played with dolls.
G.I. Joe was a doll.
I had G.I. Joe with Kung Fu Grip. I had the G.I. Joe astronaut, complete with the pull string. Just one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I had the Evel Knievel with the crank.
And then he just crashed.
That bike never went as straight as it did in the TV commercial, though.
No, but he always crashed. Which is cool.
Helmet stayed on, though.
That was his gig. He always crashed.
BJ Nelson says she had the Stretch Armstrong.
I remember that guy.
First one was good. Second one, remember when it was breaking and kids were getting poisoned by the goo that was inside it or something?
It was Tide. Yeah. It was liquid Tide is what was inside that guy.
We mocked kids for eating Tide Pods, but they were stupid idiot kids that were drinking the stuff inside the Stretch Armstrong and dying when we were kids. So
if a kid eats a Tide Pod, isn't that somewhat natural selection? I mean, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If your kid eats a Tide Pod, maybe it's for the best.
So what do you make of the G7 announcing that they're going to implement a 15% global minimum tax on corporations? Ireland, I think, is ticked because their tax was lower than that. Countries like France, who are almost at 40% taxation, the U.S., which was at 21% corporate tax.
So it's not an additional tax?
Well, I don't know. That's part of the thing that I can't quite figure out. Does each country have to commit to at least a 15% tax? And this is just the G7. Now they're going to go into political strong arm season and try to get all the countries that are outside of the G7 that rely on industries from the G7 to set up shop in their countries and put to work the people living in poverty.
It just seems like a hotbed for corruption and falsified documents.
Well, where's the money going to go? I mean, here's my fear on this. This is going to go to some global scheme
to work against our republic.
To take the 15%. So this is going to be, here's how I see this playing out. Whether or not right now it's every country would get at least 15%. You're going to see this somehow morph into the UN getting 15% and every country then having their own taxes. So it's going to be an additional 15% tax if this is able to go through, and over time, that's how this will be morphed. Because politicians, particularly the Democrats, will not ever give up a tax.
No.
But even politicians don't. And I can give you a prime example. When the Liberal government implemented the GST in Canada, Brian Mulroney and the Conservatives said we were going to run on getting rid of that GST, the 7% tax.
But they needed that money.
They needed that money because they found out, hey, we really could use this, because, hey, this is the... So what did they do? We knocked it down to 5%, then 4%, or whatever it was. But they never got rid of it. They just knocked it back a little bit. So we sort of kept the promise, but we didn't really. But I don't know. I agree with you, Murray. No global taxing at all. But
do you have knockers in Canada? With a little metal ring with two strings on it, and the two balls, and you.
I don't remember that one. Oh yeah.
Well, they were shattering and putting kids' eyes out. So immediately, like the first time that happened, you go, yeah, that wasn't such a great toy. What about the Hasbro? I think it was Hasbro, the lawn dart. I got it.
Oh. You got it all right. Well,
let's just play mini javelins. Let's just throw mini javelins at each other.
And now they're useless. Lawn darts are no fun.
Marie Day's exactly right. The U.S. was the sugar daddy for NATO until Trump said no more, and finally everybody started paying their part. How about that,
Gary? But if you need any more proof that there's a global one world order,
that's it.
It's being disguised as this 15% tax.
Because that gives them money to advertise cooperative together.
And the word on this is equitable. They're trying to say this somehow benefits the middle class. It does no such thing.
They're trying to tranche all this stuff together and get us to buy it. We're not going to buy it.
No.
There you go, Steve.
There. What's interesting with the middle class is, and the Democrats are playing this game. Oh, rich people are bad. We have to tax the wealthy. There aren't enough wealthy to tax to make up the money that they get from taxing the middle class.
Right.
That's why the middle class gets taxed. And that's why the middle class makes up the bulk of the tax revenue for almost every country on earth.
Do you want to know the number? Here's the number. with no deductions, no mortgage write-offs, no business expenses. Nobody cares about your financial problems. If everybody in the country just paid 10% to the government, everybody, Bill Gates, everybody, and just tell the government, you get a tenth, you get every 2 weeks. I work Monday through Friday. I work 1 day for you every 2 weeks. Make it work. The American people should tell the government that works for it. That's all. We're going to give you 10% flat. If you make $75,000 a year, you owe them $7,500, about $600 a month in taxes. That's it. That's all you get. Federal government, $625 would be your $7,500. That's all they get. And if you're Bill Gates and you make $100 billion, then you owe them $10 billion. There's no write-offs. There's no sympathy. We don't care how far your jet had to fly to make your $100 billion. It works for everybody.
And how large your carbon footprint was to get somewhere to tell people to lessen their carbon footprint.
Yeah. And if you don't make at least, pick a number, $30,000 a year, you don't pay anything. That's fine. Keep all your money. But guess what? We're doing away with welfare. Them that works eats. Doesn't mean we won't have charity, but there will be no more entitlement. 10% would do it. It would solve the world's problems.
Here's the only problem with that. Unemployment would be through the roof because the IRS, which is probably the largest government agency outside of military,
right,
would no longer be needed. Joe Biden wouldn't be able to try to double the number of IRS staff members to go after people he doesn't like and those he claims are cheating on their taxes. Nobody's cheating on their taxes in that sort of quantity, Joe. This is a smokescreen so you can go after Republicans and those that have gone against you and your son. You are going to weaponize the IRS, much like your predecessor or the predecessor and your best buddy, Barack Obama, did against anybody who spoke out against him. So anybody who, if you don't see this, you need to wake up. That's the whole purpose of Joe Biden is trying to increase the IRS. It's not to go after tax dollars that aren't being paid. It's to go after people that he thinks owe him something or need to be penalized and prosecuted and persecuted for what they did to expose Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and their ruthless worthlessness and them being emboldened or embedded in bed with the Chinese Communist Party.
John Davis says sales tax is the best. I agree, except every high-ticket item you ever bought in your life would then become a black market item. Nobody would buy anything publicly that cost over $100. Richard King says, is that before or after your expenses? That's just top-line money, man. That's how I would do it. 10%. I challenge you to go back and you can look at all your right. Now, I know you drive a truck, but if you're paying 28% in tax, you've got 18% of your gross just to cover that because you're only paying 10% in taxes.
Look here right now is Chris Conner says the IRS employees would be absorbed into the private sector because the growth in the economy would be massive.
Yeah, I agree.
A year or two, but it would happen. Absolutely. I remember talking with, and I won't use his name, but a relatively well-known local businessman who, under the Trump tax cuts, was able to hire a lot of people with that money and grow his business. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
Where was I going to? I had one more thing to say.
You better get out of here.
Yeah, we better get out of here.
Hall of Fame, we'll get a phone call from some, upset person. We're trying to get off the air.
So we'll get off the air.
Yeah. Folks, have a great day. We're going to have the Hall of Famer, Ralph Salazar, and Brother Gary Moses being here in a minute. So y'all have a great day. We love you.